This year's flagship phone battle isn't just competition, it's war. And Xiaomi has thrown the first punch in the boldest way possible. In the world of tech, every flagship launch is a battle, but this year felt different. This wasn't just a new phone. This was a direct challenge, a declaration of war. And the challenger came prepared. A colossal multi-day battery that redefines stamina. A revolutionary second screen for notifications and flawless selfies. On paper, an absolute beast. With a monster 7500 mAh battery, a wild second screen on the back, and Leica-tuned cameras, Xiaomi's not holding back. But going toe-to-toe with Apple means the stakes are higher than ever. Can raw power and value dethrone the king? But a fight needs two contenders. The reigning champion, Apple, is a formidable force. Yet this year, a potential flaw emerges. A chink in the armor that has the tech world talking.
Okay, so in the world of tech, we all know flagship phone launches are basically a spectator sport. But this year, it feels a little different. It feels like the gloves are off. We've got a challenger stepping into the ring, not just to compete, but to pick a very, very specific fight. Let's get into this story, because it's all about how Xiaomi is taking on Apple in the most direct way imaginable. So this whole thing kicks off with a super weird decision. You see, last year we got the Xiaomi 15, but this year, there's no Xiaomi 16. Nope, they just jumped straight to 17. And the first thing you have to ask is, why? I mean, why would you skip an entire number? Is it a mistake? Some kind of weird superstition? Or was it a message? And there it is, the answer straight from the horse's mouth. This was no accident, my friends. This was a declaration of war. By calling their new phone the Xiaomi 17, they're putting it out there for everyone to see. Their mission is to go toe-to-toe with the iPhone 17 on every single front, from the specs inside to even the names like Pro and Pro Max. This is a calculated, strategic move to force you and me to compare them side by side.
Now look, if you're going to pick a fight with a giant like Apple, you better come prepared, right? You can't show up empty-handed. So let's take a look at what Xiaomi is actually bringing to this fight. Let's unpack the challenger's arsenal.
Let's just start with this one. Absolutely massive number, 7,500. That's 7,500 milliamp hours. That is the battery they've squeezed inside the top-tier Xiaomi 17 Pro Max. To put that into perspective, this isn't just an all-day battery. This is a colossal, multi-day battery that could completely change what we think of as good phone stamina.
Their other big swing is this thing they're calling the dynamic back display. It's a second screen on the back of the phone. And it's not just for showing the time. It'll pop up your notifications, it acts as a perfect viewfinder for taking selfies with the main cameras, and get this, with a special case, it can even become a tiny little gaming controller. It's a bold idea for sure.
So when you put it all together, the picture gets pretty impressive. The whole Xiaomi 17 lineup is running on the brand spanking new Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chip. They've all got a triple 50-megapixel camera system tuned by Leica. Oh, and they support this blistering fast 100-watt wired charging. You combine all that with the monster battery and that unique back display, and what you have, on paper at least, is an absolute beast of a phone.
But of course, a fight needs two contenders. So how does the reigning champ, the iPhone 17, actually stack up? I mean, Apple has some seriously formidable armor. But this year, well, there might be a little chink in that shiny armor. All right, let's put them side by side on paper. Here we've got the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max versus the predicted specs for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. You'll notice the screens are almost the exact same size. The processors are the best of the best from both camps. But then you get to the battery column, and whoa! That 7,500 number from Xiaomi just towers over the iPhone's predicted 5,000. That is a huge difference in raw capacity.
And that brings us to the potential Achilles heel. Early reviews and teardowns of the new iPhone 17 Pro are pointing to an issue that some folks are already calling Scratchgate. It seems like the anodized finish right around that big new camera bump is weirdly prone to chipping and peeling off. It's a potential durability issue, and it just goes to show that even the champ isn't perfect.
So, as you can probably imagine, a move this aggressive from Xiaomi has the internet completely fired up. It's kicked off this massive debate. Is this a legitimate challenge from a real contender, or is this just a shameless copycat at work? The court of public opinion is, let's say, sharply divided.
On one side, you have the fierce critics. This YouTube comment really sums it up perfectly.
To them, skipping a whole phone generation just to match Apple's number isn't a power move. It's an admission that you're just a follower. They see it as a total lack of confidence, a company that can't pave its own way.
But then you have the other side of the coin, the longtime users and fans. For them, honestly, this whole debate is kind of irrelevant. It all comes down to value. They see a company that delivers incredible, top-tier performance for a fraction of the price. So who cares what the number is, when the phone itself is such a fantastic deal? And that dynamic back display, yeah, that's at the center of a whole other debate. Is it a gimmick, or is it a real innovation? Critics will quickly point out that other companies have tried this before, and it's never really stuck. They just become forgotten features. But the proponents, they argued this time could be different, that it could actually offer genuinely useful new ways to take photos and see your notifications. The jury is definitely still out on this one. And, we can't ignore this. This is a powerful statement from Apple's legendary former designer, Johnny Ive. When he was asked about companies that mimic Apple, he did not mince words. He called it theft and lazy. That just shows you how seriously the design world takes these kinds of accusations. It's not just business strategy. To them, it's an ethical problem.
So it all boils down to this. We've got two very different phones built on two very different philosophies headed for a final showdown. Which approach is going to win out?
And finally, we get to one of the biggest factors of all, the price tag. This chart just makes the difference impossible to ignore. The Xiaomi 17 Pro Max is starting at around $840, while the iPhone 17 Pro Max kicks off at $1,099. That's more than a $250 difference. This visualizes Xiaomi's entire argument. You get flagship specs, and in some cases, even better specs, for way less money. So in the end, the choice really lands in your court. It's all about what you value the most. If you're someone who prioritizes raw horsepower, bleeding-edge specs, like that crazy battery, and a much lower price, well, Xiaomi is making a heck of an argument. But if what you value is that seamless, polished software experience, the prestige of the brand, and a design that feels original, the iPhone is still the king for millions of people for a reason.
And that really leaves us with one last big question. As these phones get closer and closer in some ways, what truly defines a flagship anymore? Is it about pushing raw hardware specs to the absolute limit, even if you're following a path someone else created? Or is it about creating a totally original, seamless experience from the ground up? What do you think matters more, innovation or imitation?
So, the stage is set. On one side, raw power and value. On the other, seamless experience and prestige. The choice seems clear, but it raises one final, crucial question. So here's the real question. When it comes to flagships, what matters more? Innovation or imitation?